Those program.
I mean, that's pretty loud from the people of Texas. And watch this moment from a town hall in Kansas where constituents pressed Senator Roger Marshall so forcefully that he literally just got up and walked out.
We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
All right.
Donald Trump has hit a serious string of losses, scandals, and screw-ups that any president would struggle to get through, but it's so much worse for Donald Trump, not just because of the way he acts, but because of the people acting around him. And of course, you know, I am talking about his press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, who got so angry when confronted with all of these scandals, all of these failures of the past few weeks of the Trump administration. She started lashing out at reporters. And really what was worse about it all is that she kind of realized how bad things were for Trump. It was hilarious. It was a meltdown. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, it goes a long way. And it really does mean a lot to me. Now let's check out this first clip of Carolyn Leavitt getting confronted.
At this podium.
We know that some officials here were miffed that Zelensky showed up last week without a suit for his meeting in the Oval Office. But Elon Musk never wears a suit.
He did last night.
So what is the dress code?
Well, Elon Musk wore a suit last night. I'm sure you saw it.
Was he spooked by the Zelensky getting kicked out?
No, I don't think so. I'm just pointing out that he did wear a suit last night. And I think the president liked that very much.
I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually glad that Peter Dewey asked the question here. Yeah, the hypocrisy couldn't be clearer than this Zelensky suit conversation. I made a video about it. Republicans they were angry. President Zelensky, whose country is at war, wasn't wearing a suit. But Elon Musk can run around like the biggest dork in the world and they're all fine with it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid. And again, I continue to come back to this thing Republicans say about how Zelensky was disrespectful in the Oval Office and how he spoke out of turn, and they can't point to the example in which he actually did. So are they just mad about his clothes? Are they that insecure? They that much of a snowflake? Well, clearly, they are that insecure. They are clearly angry. See you. We see Carolyn Leavitt lashing out at a reporter right here.
It's just 43 pounds that were found last year. That's less than a carry-on suitcase. Is that a lot of fentanyl compared to, say, Mexico? The vast majority of the fentanyl is brought in through Mexico, not Canada. So what else does Canada need to do?
Well, I just told you, last year alone, there was a 2,000% increase in illegal fentanyl.
But it's only
You're asking me for what the president's justification is for these tariffs. It's not up to you. You're not the president, Gabe. And frankly, I think it's a little bit disrespectful to the families in this country who have lost loved ones at the hands of this deadly poison. If you talk to them, and this president has, they are grateful that they finally have a president who is standing up to both Canada and Mexico, and most importantly to China as well. The president added an additional 10% tariff on China because this deadly poison is being produced in that country. It's being distributed through our neighbors, and there needs to be consequences for that, period.
Yeah, we know that reporter is not the president, but I think we're allowed to ask questions. Isn't that what the whole purpose of the free press is? I know, Carolyn, you're not a fan of the free press, but that's their job to ask questions. And when Donald Trump is causing some ridiculous trade war, which we are going to get into in just a second, how it is actually crumbling around him, I think the press is allowed to ask why Donald Trump is raising prices with his trade war when he was promising to do the opposite throughout his campaign. And now they have to come up with all of these distractions, as we can see right here.
President continues to call the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, Governor of Canada. I'm curious what he means by that, and if there are any plans that are moving forward with trying to make Canada the 51st state. And I have a follow-up on the economy as well.
Sure. Well, the president put that in his True Social account, or his True Social post earlier today. He feels strongly that it would be very beneficial for the Canadian people to be the 51st state of the United States. They wouldn't be paying for these tariffs. They'd have much lower taxes if they were part of our great country.
Why are we still doing this? It's so stupid. It is so stupid. But again, it is just another way to distract 51st state Governor Trudeau. Nobody cares. Eggs are like $112 at this point, and the pending tariffs, which I said we were going to get into, and we are just causing more problems in every other sector, and not to mention the fact that we're losing jobs by the hundreds of thousands because of this economic downturn, because of the predicted recession, because Elon is firing people at will, and yeah, things aren't going too well, which is what Carolyn Levitt actually admitted right here.
Ouija.
Thank you, Caroline. Back on tariffs, last night President Trump said there will be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. Can you put a dollar figure amount on how much the average American family should expect to pay as this disturbance? And why should Americans be okay with that when so many are already struggling to pay the bills?
Well, first of all, last night, the president told the truth. And he was realistic, and he level set with the American people. And I think, frankly, it's very refreshing, and everybody in this room should be very grateful that we have a president who tells the truth about the reality of the economic situation that we are in, unlike the previous president who lied to everybody's faces, saying inflation was transitory, saying it was under control, saying that the border was secure, when none of that was true. So the president is being frank and honest, and the American people elected this president to have monumental reform and change, including rebuilding our manufacturing base in this country, standing up to foreign nations who have been ripping off our country for decades, and that requires a little bit of disruption. That requires a lot of effort and work that this president is focused on doing. With that said, as the president said last night, his administration is wholeheartedly committed, of course, to ending the inflation nightmare caused by the Biden administration. Look at the
And there it is. They finally admitted it. Yeah, tariffs are going to cause us pain. They don't really care, though. If you're a billionaire, $10 eggs is not much of a crisis. If you're a regular person, it is. But they don't care. That's not what this administration is about. Again, this is the opposite of what they ran on huge cuts to government, to programs keeping people fed, housed, alive. That's what this administration is about. It is not promises made, promises kept, just because you renamed a body of water to own. The libs doesn't mean you're fulfilling on the fake mandate that you have. People are already feeling the pain. Listen to, once again, that being admitted in the press room, right here.
Tariffs. The president mentioned a little disturbance during his remarks yesterday. The CEO of Target says that consumers will likely see prices go up on everything from strawberries to bananas to avocados. How long should Americans expect to pay higher prices? Are we talking a week, a couple of days, a few months?
Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but what I can assure the American people is that this president and this administration is doing everything they can. And I would remind you and everybody else in this room that it's because of the previous administration's economic policies that Americans were left with record high inflation. Inflation throughout Joe Biden's entire 48 months in office.
CEOs are admitting that prices are going up because of Donald Trump. And the worst part about these tariffs that Donald Trump continues true delay is that even if they never go into effect, just the fear of them is causing prices to go up. And you know what happens when prices go up? They usually tend to stay there. I don't think companies that are already getting people to pay higher prices. Now, eggs is an exception because of the bird flu, but on other products, if they can get their prices up a couple of percentage points, they're not going to bring them down. It's what we saw during the inflationary period post-pandemic. It wasn't because of supply chains that prices continued to go up a year, 2-3 years later. It's because companies realized that under the guise of inflation, under the rising prices generally, that they could slowly start to tick up things a little bit here, a little bit there, without anyone noticing. Blame it all on inflation when it was really their greed. And that's what the Trump administration is about too. It's greed from CEOs. It's greed from the biggest billionaires. It's greed from Donald Trump, all not worrying about actual consumers while they focus on themselves. And it's why Trump is so unpopular, as Jen Psaki talked about right here.
Not alone. I mean, you're in the majority, actually. Brand new polling shows that a majority of Americans say the State of the Union is not very strong. A majority of Americans say the cuts to the federal government are doing more harm than good. A majority of Americans say Trump has not paid enough attention to the country's most important problems. And the only president who had a lower approval rating than Donald Trump at this point in their presidency is Donald Trump. Again, you see what's happening. You know what's happening. And you are in the majority. We see that very clearly in the data. And we're also seeing it in communities and town halls all across the country. I mean, look at the greeting Vice President J.D. Vance got in Vermont over the weekend, when citizens crowded the streets carrying signs like "Democracy, not fascism," and my personal favorite, "Go ski in Russia, J.D." And listen to this chorus of boos at Congressman Keith Self's town hall in Texas over the weekend.
The Doge program.
I mean, that's pretty loud from the people of Texas. And watch this moment from a town hall in Kansas where constituents pressed Senator Roger Marshall so forcefully that he literally just got up and walked out.
We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
Tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is. But let me translate that for you real quick. When Trump says he'll tell it like it is, what he really means is that he's going to tell you what his own warped version of what he wants you to believe. I mean, I obviously don't know what's in the speech. I can't entirely predict all the things he's going to talk about at all. But I think it's pretty safe to say that he's going to lie, he's going to exaggerate, he's going to sugarcoat, he's going to say a lot of things that aren't true. As you're watching that and resisting the urge to throw something at the TV, if you do, just make sure it's a soft thing. Just remember that you know what's true. No matter what he says tomorrow, you know what he's already done. You know what you've been seeing with your own eyes. You know how you and your family and your neighbors have been feeling. I mean, you probably felt a little less safe booking that next flight after a series of recent crashes and air disasters, as Trump and Musk continued their quest to gut the FAA. I bet you've heard about the measles outbreak in Texas, killing a child that might be the same age as your kid or your grandkid, as Trump and Musk got the Department of Health and Human Services. You might have seen the news today that for the first time in history, your Social Security checks might not come on time. You've probably gone to the grocery store over the past few weeks and seen that the prices have not actually gone down, but up. And you know that when Trump imposes his tariffs on Canada and Mexico in a few hours, costs will go up even more. If you have money in the stock market, you probably noticed that the markets tanked today after Trump confirmed those tariffs are coming. And I know you saw what happened in the Oval Office on Friday, when Trump berated an ally under attack and sided with a murderous dictator. Point is this, you see what's happening, you know what's happening. And if you spent the last few weeks worrying about what all of this means for you and what this means for the country and your community.
Not that this is the most unpopular presidency in history. Donald Trump already did that once. I guess he just decided he had to do it again. But it's time for us to seize on this moment, really truly. We have the winds pushing us forward. We have the momentum. Things are changing. We can call them out. And it's what we're going to do on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.